no, we are not going to do any. Oh, yeah, there's nothing happened today, guys. Not today. Oh, it's the best single day in 100T League of Legends history, if I do say so myself. Everybody, welcome to 100 Talk on just a beastly day, a day of days. Could not be more excited to be hanging out with everybody tonight. Welcome. Sandwich, thanks for the 10 gifted. Welcome.
Cole. What? Is this the real life?
It is. It is. This actually happened today. This actually happened.
Yo, what?
Jordan has been lost. He got so excited to disconnected. Let's see if I can pull him up again. I think this is my fault, not his, actually. There we go. Oh, internet connectivity issues not going to keep us down today.
Look, I suspect that may happen once or twice more, at least, because the internet can't handle how hype this is.
Yeah.
We've broken Google servers.
We've exceeded Cole. The bandwidth allotted to 100 Thieves fans.
Oh my gosh. Dude, there's so much to talk about. Are we sure that we haven't slipped into a time rift and it is now the beginning of spring 2022? Because this is off-season moves we're talking about here. I feel like this is an entire new year. Have we added another calendar year to this calendar year somehow, Cole? What is happening?
You know, one memorable sports call said, "Do not scratch your eyes." That's where we are right now. Look, chat.
What is this, Cole? Is this 100 Talk or what?
Yeah, this is 100 Talk. Look, tonight is going to be kind of a podcast and kind of just a celebration. And so we'll probably be doing a little more chat reading, and we're going to do a little less structure to the conversation, mostly because Jordan and I haven't even talked about this. We just knew we had to be there tonight to celebrate. So the conversation will be kind of free flowing. We'll pay attention to chat as we go, but welcome to this very, 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 very special night of 100 Talk.
Yeah, this is 100 Talk, Cole. Do you want to tell them who we are, what we do really quick?
Yeah, so we are a fan community specifically for 100 Thieves, and following League of Legends is our bread and butter. We also cover some other 100T esports, but League of Legends is where we were born and raised, at least in the 100 Thieves era. Now, that being said, Jordan and I are not experts about League of Legends. We're not analysts about League of Legends. In fact, we're quite stupid when it comes to League of Legends, but we love 100 Thieves, and we love talking about what's been happening. We love team ops. We love Abbedagge. We love Ssumday. We love Reapered. We love everybody, man. I just love all of you. That's all I want to say. We just love all of you.
Cole, you don't have to be a genius to know that this is a good signing. It's a good one. We got a good one here. So yeah, we don't need to be on the analyst desk to tell you this is an exciting time for 100 Thieves fans.
Yeah.
Long have we waited, and here we are.
So we'll be covering, the things that happened today. Abbedagge will be doing Ssumday's green card. We'll be talking about Reaper that happened over the weekend. And then we're talking about a bunch of 100 Thieves general topics and how we're feeling today. One more thing that we should mention is that this show, 100 Talk, is powered by the one, the only, Rip It Energy Fuel.
Wow, Cole. I'm surprised to see you with a Citrus X on this momentous occasion.
Citrus X, my favorite flavor from my favorite day ever. Dude, he's still going. Holy crap. We're ready to heart attack it, boys. Ooh. Let's get those palpitations going, dude. I died like halfway through my can. I'm shocked that you were able to do that. Look at him; his eyes are watering and everything.
I think I'm ascending to a different plane of reality, Cole. I've slipped into an alternate universe where we are suddenly an unstoppable force in League of Legends. What has happened?
Make it rain, said true gamer. Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Oh, all right. Well, it looks like I got to start us off because Jordan may not be in a condition to continue with the podcast. I feel like I'm talking faster already. Wow. Yeah. What a fun night this is going to be. Look, let's set the stage here, 100 T fans. We had in the back of our minds something we wanted to ask for. In fact, several things we wanted to ask for. And we've been around for a long time now. This is, it's 2021. We're halfway through 2021. We've been here since the beginning of 2018. We've always wanted some things, all right? One of those things that we wanted was for Kind Boy to get a green card. Wishlist item number 1. Let's get him a green card so that he can not take up an import slot anymore. One of the other things kind of rolling around in the back of our minds was, draft is getting a little stale. Maybe a coaching change would be in order. Perhaps, somebody with championship experience, perhaps someone with a proven track record of winning. So that was kind of there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? While you're at it, why not, Cole?
Right. Not so big of an ask. And then, just the one other thing was maybe, just maybe, the heavens could find it in Ja's plan to give us a mid laner. The mid laner we never had. The foundational piece that could be built around for years and years. The Bjergsen, say, of 100 Thieves.
Wow.
And, in my wildest dreams, when I woke up this morning, I did not anticipate that full list of items would have been delivered before summer of 2021. But here we are.
When we last wrapped our 100 Thieves podcast and this time, not even before summer, all in 1 week, Cole, they condensed it. We're in the hyperbolic chamber of, is that what the name of hyperbaric? What is it from
hyperbolic for Dragon Ball Z?
Hyperbolic, yes. Thank you. Of
I am a weeb. I'm a proven weeb.
Well, we know that you at least like Dragon Ball Z, Cole. It's like they took the news cycle and just put it in there and it popped out with all of the things we've waited years for. It's crazy. It feels crazy and it feels great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look, again, in setting the stage, things to check off, I was quite on the record about the mid laner this year. After what happened this offseason where we pulled in DeMonte, who at best was going to be a slight improvement over Ryoma. We pulled him in and we kept Ryoma around. And one of the things that I was on the record saying is like, look, okay, I get it, but we have to fix this before 2022 or I don't know what I'm going to do. If you are, you know what I mean? Like if you are a general manager building a team, like this is the glaring obvious need of 100 Thieves. And it has been the entire time we've been a team. And so your job basically is to solve that problem. And so when I was disappointed by the 2021 plan, even though I got it, cause it's like, it's not just, you don't just get to write down the name on a piece of paper that you want and then it magically appears. You know what I mean?
Right.
I get that, but over the years, that's what you have to find a way to achieve, right? That's what your job is. Make the team good,
Right. Right. If it were easy, you wouldn't need to have a great GM, right?
Right.
Like if all it took was to make a phone call and say, we're going to pay you a lot of money. We will see you next week for training camp, and then we'll get to winning games. Like if that's all it took, then GMs don't exist. And because everybody else is calling that person to say, we'll see you next week. And they're only showing up to the one who's got the most money to offer in most of these cases. So that's usually not us, turns out, with some of these other teams rolling around.
So, but the deal is, that is what you are brought in to do. And so I was saying, if we don't solve this problem by 2022, that to me indicates like a systemic problem that, somebody else needs to come in and solve.
Yeah.
But Jordan, we never gave up hoping, did we? I've been podcasting in front of this for a very long time. Get a good look. All right. Been podcasting in front of that Trust the Papa banner. And there's a reason why. Today is one of those reasons. The man got the job done. All right. One of the, probably the hardest thing you could do, right? When it comes to player signings is like pulling in a player from, all right, guys, don't clip this. Don't remember me saying this, but pulling in a player from a better region, right?
What?
Okay, let me rephrase: a higher skilled region, higher performing region, to come all the way across the ocean and come play, at a team that hasn't been winning. You know what I mean? It's like you're joining. Oh, Jordan's got to get. I don't know what's going on with the old Google today. Like I said, I think it's going to be both of us, so we'll just periodically do this. Yeah,
that's fine. No big deal.
No big deal at all. That is like the hardest thing in the world to do, right? Is to convince a player like that to come to NA and to be your guy, right? I don't know if you guys looked at the contract database. This guy is here through 2023. We've got him through the end of 2023.
Right.
All right.
So this isn't even like a spend it all to win now move.
Yeah.
Right. This is not like you put it all on the table and say, if we don't win summer 2021, I don't know what we do then, because we've put all our chips out. That's huge. That cannot be understated, how important that is for the long term of the program. Right.
Yeah. And so, right now we're focusing on Papa Smithy as the face, as the GM, right, of making this happen. And you have to absolutely give him credit and respect for getting this done. This is a huge thing. And whether or not opinions of Abbedagge may vary, right? Like we could be like, okay, I think he's a top 3 in the LEC, or, he's probably like middle of the pack in LEC. No matter what that is, he's coming to NA and he's going to be in that tier that can win you a domestic title and take you to Worlds, right? That's kind of like, that's not really refutable right now.
Yeah.
It's certainly better than where we were previously, right? There's no argument to that. This is an unimpeachably good thing that has happened. All right. So kudos to Papa. Kudos to all the staff that was involved in this, right? Because it's not going to be him on his own. It's also going to be the analysts, the scouting department, everybody who's weighing in on who the guy is that they should move on. We don't know how this materialized. We don't know if the talks with Niski were real. We don't know who they were choosing from. We don't know if this was their desired timing or they sensed a moment and struck. We don't know those circumstances, but we do know that the staff as a whole found a way to put this thing together and get the ink dry on what is honestly like the future of 100 Thieves, right? Is a foundational mid lane piece. Okay. This is the dream. You want a player like this. Now I think he's going to be very, very good in NA, right? In fact, Papa was in our Discord earlier today and he called him a top 2 NA, right? That's what he called out for how they rate him, the top 2 NA. That is exactly what everybody has always asked for. Right. So do not ever again tell me that 100 Thieves doesn't want to win esports. Do not ever tell me again that they're not willing to spend to make something happen. Do not ever again say those things. All right. They just do not apply.
Yeah.
Okay. They got the job done. All right. This is going to be a big deal. I see in chat someone saying debatable with Jensen and Power of Evil. Cool. Like I respect that opinion. The point is he is good enough that he can be a piece of a Worlds level team and an NA title level team. That's what we want. That's what we want. Even if you quote just rank him in that, it is where we need to be at minimum. And he did it. Papa Smithy did it. You know what I mean? Like the staff did it. Give him the credit.
I think even the way you said that and the way the person in chat said that, I didn't see it in chat, so I can't credit the argument here. But calling it debatable because of these other players is an acknowledgement that it's a conversation to be had. We have never had a debatable top 2 or 3 mid. It's never been debatable. We've always had debatably a mid-tier mid. Ryu, we see you, we love you.
Most underrated player we've ever had.
Most underrated. And I would say he's like the exception to that. But otherwise, we have not. We have never had a mid who even approaches and earns their way into the conversation of top 3. This is different. And so if you are more on the reserve side to say, I'm still seeing Jensen and PoE, not to mention Perks, of course, and so I'm not sure that you have a top 3 mid, that's fine, right? And that's where the play and the strategy and all these other things that will actually happen once he loads in to the NA server, that's where that starts to get fleshed out. Right now, this is all conjecture, right? This is people who are looking at him in a different setting and thinking about what will happen when you put him in the LCS. And that's fine. And we'll leave room for that, right? And we'll see how he does. That will be the proof once he starts playing against these guys. But I think it is very important to point out that that's the conversation we're having now. It is no longer a question of whether or not we care. It's a question of whether or not we actually got a top 3 mid. And a lot of people think we do. Some people think we didn't, and that's fine. There's room for that. And that's what we'll see over time.
Yeah. You brought up Perks. I mean, maybe this is the perfect time to show what Perks thinks of this acquisition. I mean, let me see if I can pull this up here. I'm going to give this a try. So excuse the scuffed production here. In fact, hold on. There we go. Let's give this a whirl here. 1 second. And move this over so you can actually see it. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm messing up everything, but who cares? Because we got Abbedagge. There we go. All right, let's listen in to Perk's opinion on this.
You think Hanati is going to be better competition with Abbedagge on the team? In the other news, do you think water is better when it pours from fountain or when it pours from the sink? It's like obvious they will be better, guys. Like how is it even like? It's a massive upgrade. They will be a much better team. Will it be good enough to beat Cloud9?
And it cuts off there, and I say yes. Look, that's coming from who I think most would consider the undisputed best in NA right now, right? Like Perks.
Current champion,
soon to be dethroned by Abbedagge, but current champion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like he, despite the him reaching to find the right analogy, what he's saying is, of course, this is 100 Thieves getting better. He calls it a massive upgrade, right? Somebody who knows him a lot better than we do. It says this is a massive upgrade. I just want to take a second to appreciate that, right? Mm-hmm. Perks is the dude who will meme you to death, right? That is just absolute respect from him. And that respect is going to be shown on the Rift as well. And that is what's going to be so meaningful for 100 Thieves fans, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You were circulating earlier today, and just the community in general was passing around the highlight video of Abbedagge from over the past, maybe not even just the past year, but, you know, his time with Schalke. A lot of the thing that caught my eye is a lot of those clips are against, it's not just like he was beating up on the bottom tier teams, right? Like he was handling everybody, and didn't really matter who it was. He was beating Perks. He was beating Caps, right? Like this was him playing against other top tier talent. When you think about global league, when you think about global talent. So, I mean, that's the cauldron, right? Like he was formed in the crucible of the LEC. When you think about the types of players you want to know that your mid will do well against. And we've talked about this in the past, how, you know, winning in LCS is one thing, but you get to Worlds and you learn a whole other set of things. And we know now it's not just upside. It's not just conjecture about how he might do against some of these other top players. We've seen it. It's played out, and he's done really well. He's passed the test. So for me, it gives me a ton of confidence that he's going to come in and be able to hold his own. If not, repeat that performance. Even if he dips down, it's not a question of will he be able to, or is he capable of it? Because we've seen it. And Perk saying that is basically the proof that you need if you're not convinced that he is viewing him as somebody who is in a different tier than what we've currently got and what we've had in the past. And I think you're right. Like that to me almost speaks the loudest, right? Because nobody's paying him to say that, right? Like there is no corporate communications person who's saying, Perks, here's what you should say to really drum up excitement about the LCS. If he didn't believe it, if he didn't want to say it, he wouldn't say it. And if he wanted to meme, he would. So that goes a long way for me.
Yeah. So this is just like, I don't know. I'm so happy, man. It's everything we wanted. And I mean, we're not even like, this is what I was thinking of. We're not even getting somebody who's lived out the prime years in LEC and now is older and is coming to NA to retire. We're not getting that at all, right? We are getting instead somebody who is on the way up and who has found success. It's almost like LeBron carried the 2007 Cavs into the finals, right? He had that like unbelievable series against the Pistons, right? Where he basically willed him in. It was something like he scored the last 27 of 28 points for an overtime victory or whatever. Like that's basically what Abbedagge did for the miracle run last year for Schalke, right? Like this is a dude who has shown insane early potential to carry a team. And we're getting him when he's 21 years old and let's say he started in 2019, right? So he's 2.5 years into his League of Legends career. This is very good. This is very good.
Right. You can build around that person,
Just so do you want to spend a second just talking about what we know about him? Because like, honestly, and as we said, like we're not league experts, and I would do, I'm trying to think of what's appropriate to say on Twitch, but I would like choose to do lots of other things other than watch LEC. And on top of that, we're idiots, but we do know some things about him. Like I mentioned, the miracle run last year for Schalke was really cool to watch. They went from 1-10 to 8-10. So they won the last 7 games.
Yeah. To make playoffs.
And again, Abbedagge was a major reason why, and he had like a sick quadra kill in the last game to secure playoffs, right? Like right when it mattered. His quadra was like the last moment of that game. We did going back. So I said he started in 2019, spring 2019. He joined Schalke as the starter. Before that, he was on a team called Royal Bandits with Broken Blade, with Closer, and with Freeze. Now, Broken Blade, who cares? Closer is on our team. Freeze is on our step. So that comfort level from the early years is kind of cool. Can only be seen as a plus. It's probably not going to be like, they played together in 2018 briefly, so we're going to win worlds. It's not like that, but it's cool to have that experience, right? And then this spring, I should say, they came in 4th. They're respectful, but here's the thing. Here's the funny thing that I'm going to make my like unqualified opinion on this is that like the thing about Schalke that my more cultured friends tell me, right, is that it's arguable. You can make the argument that Abbedagge is sitting on a team with not a lot of super great talent around him, right? Not like they're horrible, but there's not a lot of super great talent, and he's kind of just willing them. Well, yeah, and that was back in 2020, but I'm talking about this year.
Oh, okay.
And he's kind of just like carrying them as much as possible, but you can only do so much. It's interesting because it's almost like the exact problem or the exact inverse problem that we have for 100 Thieves, where it's like we've got some really solid players all across the Rift, except for in mid lane. where we really struggled. So it's like taking somebody from a situation where they are this beast with not a lot of talent and putting them into a situation where everybody else is beasts and the mid lane was maybe not so hot. So it's just so cool to see the puzzle pieces like interacting like that. And holy crap, man, that is exciting to see. Like Ssumday has never really had a rock mid laner to relieve the pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to see that now. We get to find that out. What does that look like on 100 Thieves? Like, we don't have to wonder. We're going to get to see this.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Dargar, I'm talking about on 100 Thieves. I'm not talking about his KT career. Clearly, I'm not talking about his KT career.
It's kind of like Alfari, right? There's an echo of Alfari in the way this is all unfolding. Him coming to LCS, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alfari's team was worse, but
right. And then we saw what happened to him, right? That dude went off this split. He was insane. You know what I mean? So, I just think that bodes well. It's like, and it's just solving the problem for both parties. You know what I mean? I am so happy about that. I am so excited, man. This is so good. Yes, guys, I know. I was talking about 100 Thieves, Darkuth. I was talking about 100 Thieves. You guys know this. So I think like, you know, I'm going to spend time watching like the highlight montages and then watching some VODs of the recent games just to kind of get a better feel for him.
Yeah, totally.
But
we should VOD.
It seems like this dude is a really well-rounded player. Like that's kind of like the story on him is that he can play a lot of different stuff. He's kind of like obviously good at control mages, which was a big thing. Actually, let me bring this back up. Let's see if we can do this again. We'll look at his champ pool. Okay, so here's his champ pool on Oracle's Elixir, right? Azir at the top, 21 games played. Azir, Ryze, Orianna, Zoe. Those are kind of the top champs. Like he's got a sneaky good Akali here. 13 games played with a 69% win rate. Cassio, 73% win rate. Silas, 60% win rate. Aatrox even. Wow. 6 games, 67%. What a beast. There's a wide variety of stuff here, right? Interesting, like TF, he's only got 3 games on. He's got the Nocturne game under his belt. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff here from his champ pool. I like in the highlight thing that I tweeted earlier today, someone showed that to me in the Discord. So thank you to whoever that was. Like it was insane. It was like just watching these plays, I could not believe what he was doing. He had like crazy Azir and Akali play, like and Zoe too. Like the 3 of those were incredible to watch. Like this dude, he's gonna get like all the moments we inevitably have with Ssumday every split, where it's just he like makes your jaw drop with something crazy he does. Like we're gonna get that with Abbedagge in mid lane now too. So it's
going to happen.
Goodness gracious, this is gonna be insane. Like I cannot wait. I wish the season started tomorrow.
I know. I think there's a chance that it actually happens more often than we think. I don't know. I don't want to like overhype myself even, because it is gonna be a big change for him. It's obviously like he was born in Germany. He's playing for Schalke, which is a big German name. So that's a very cool place to be, even if they're not the dominant presence in esports. Like that's a household name in Germany. So that's very cool for him. So this is a huge move to come to LA as a 21-year-old. Who knows how many connections he has here. So I don't think we should expect him to be like absolutely tip top of his game on day one. Like I think you got to give people time to adjust. But I have to imagine that he's going to run into mid laners in the LCS who aren't giving him a super hard time. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be a fireworks show in those games. Like that's going to be super exciting. We've never had that, to your point, Cole. We've seen Ssumday do that, putting some of the outliers in the top lane to the test. And we've seen FBI do that. But man, watching a mid laner go off on some of these champions, like there's just something special about Nikali, who is unleashed in a professional league.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude.
Which shout out to Ryu. We got to see a couple of good Akali games from Ryu.
Exactly my point. Like those are some of the most exciting moments we've had as Thieves fans, is when Ryu did some of those things to save games for us. And he was saving the game, right? This is going to be a very different vibe, I think is what we should expect.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, of course, when you have such a standout talent that everybody's excited about, kind of kills the vibe when you drop him into a squad where they're going to draft some really boring, normal stuff. And, it's going to be unimaginative League of Legends. Nope, we got Reapered, baby. All right, let's talk about this really quick. So Reapered has not worked in the coaching space in 2021. All right.
Time off.
He took some time off after Cloud9. Now, one can assume this man wanted a lot of money to coach because he spent a brief 4.5 years with Cloud9, winning very much, being very good, developing players very well. We lost Jordan again, and everybody. So it's kind of like it's unimpeachable, right? This is another unimpeachable thing where Reapered is going to be a good coach for us. And it's such a change from what we're used to, because we are in for a different way to play and a different way to draft, a different way to prepare, a different way to develop players. And he's coming fresh off of a break too, So it's not like he's going to, just be burnt out from doing whatever he's been doing for the past little bit. This dude is coming in fresh with fresh ideas, and goodness, like, again, just if you could have written down the name of any coach that you wanted in the offseason, he might have been on that,
Yeah.
He probably was for most people. I know Lil Thieves wants to call out that he called Reapered. I think like a lot of us really wanted that to happen. Right.
Yeah. He's the only one who made a welcome 200 Thieves image, though, so credit where it's due.
Yeah, he committed. He hard committed to it.
Every once in a while, it pops up on my timeline. I get a smile on my face, and now it's real. We get the real one. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah. So, holy cow, man. Like, we're just... Oh, gosh. We're going to look so different, I feel like.
Yeah. I'll say this about... Coaches in the LCS are such a challenging thing, because so often what you get is retired players who come back around. You got Rain over at C9, right? Like there's not a list of coaches who you'd say, well, he's not working out, but what if we went for that guy? Like it feels a little bit like a carousel. And I think with a lot of these coaches, the thing that makes it challenging is as fans and, we don't really have visibility to what their style is, what the difference is. Like we know these things about the players, but the coaches, we just don't. And so it feels like a lot of times the coaches become the fall guy when a program's not doing well. They kick them out, bring somebody else in who does stuff that I guess, we just don't have visibility to. Bird feels different, right? He's one of those few coaches in the LCS who everybody knows, one, and people understand very well what he's about. And he has big things that he's done that he can point to that are not just, I had a lot of really good players and we hung a banner, right? Like he has an actual set of accomplishments that are very unique and specific to coaches. It's only something that a coach can do. And I think that's very rare. And it's part of the reason I think that everybody looks at him as the coach to get, right? And we got him. But you think about like the C9 benching. You bench the whole main squad and you put the academy players in. Like that was Reapered, and you may disagree with that, but that is a coaching decision. They won that split, if I'm not mistaken. Like it worked. Because he kept his job after it. If it didn't, he'd probably be out the door. He's bold, he's brave, he's going to do that stuff. Also Blabber, right? Like Blabber came up under his.
I mean, Sven Skaren did even before that.
Exactly. Like, so clearly he can develop players. Clearly he's not afraid to make big moves and try things. And I think the other thing is, like, C9 is the team probably with the most distinct style. They have a very characteristic way of playing the game. Obviously he's not there anymore, but I think a lot of that is thanks to him. Like, he comes with what we understand as fans is he comes with a way that the game should be played, and that he's going to set his team up to play it. And I think that's one of the things that most recently it feels like we've just haven't had the identity in the game on the Rift that has at times felt like that's the missing piece, right? So I think it's super exciting because he's a known quantity and we can understand what to expect as fans. But he's also got such an amazing core to work with now. Like, you see this a lot of times. You bring in a legendary coach with a bit of a fractured roster and you get mixed results, right? Mm-hmm. Like, traditional sports analogy, Tottenham Hotspur today let go Jose Mourinho, one of the all-time great coaches. They cut him before his initial contract was even close to done. And he had arguably the best roster that he's ever had, that the team has ever had. So it just goes to show you that if your job as a coach is to both build a roster, sign players, develop a strategy, come up with a cohesive plan, like, that can be hard for anybody. And it doesn't always work. Just getting a coach doesn't immediately solve that. So I think the fact that we got these things all happening at the same time maximizes the chance that Reapered is able to deliver, right? Which that is, you couldn't ask for more. These things all come together in a way that I think is actually even better, right, than just one or two of them happening independently.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice little monologue there.
Thank you. I've been thinking about that piece a lot.
I can't really add a whole lot to that, other than to say that I think probably what happened is that the trust between the coaching staff and players was probably a little strained because we weren't having success, or at least the success that we wanted to have. I mean, look, again, we weren't bad. You know what I mean? We got fourth place, and pretty provably fourth place. You know, like we earned that. Yeah. But you know, you say, like, clearly there were some champ pool things and some strategic things where we were more limited on what the team was able to do. We've always talked about that tension, right? It's like, when you draft, what can you do with the players that you have? It's not just what should we draft when we're looking at the piece of paper. It's what can we actually play? And right now it feels like we just unlocked both sides of that equation to address them, right? So I think I think draft is like a focal point for people right now. I thought the dive had like an interesting thing about this, because it's like pretty easy to point to and analyze and to blame and whatever. But it's still a thing, right? And still the champs that we lock in are a thing. Some of the stuff that we did, maybe like playing Jace a few times, is not the most ideal. But we're getting in somebody who's going to draft in a different way, and we're getting in a player who's going to be able to play a different way. Right. Right. And so I feel like both sides of that are going to improve, and that overall tension should be something that Reapered, I think, is able to resolve. And can we also just say he looks awesome? The hair,
yeah,
the face, just the confidence. Who doesn't want that?
He's got swagger, man. He's got a lot of swagger.
Who doesn't want that, man? So yeah, that pickup. I mean, look, we would have felt like we probably won the offseason if Reapered was the only acquisition we did in the middle of a year. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably like, wow, like what a huge victory, you know? So that stands on its own. Another person we're just super excited to have.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Ssumday?
Always.
So the precondition to what played out was that, you know, we had to have the import slot to accommodate the mid laner. And so when the Niski leak happened and people were talking about, oh, what's going to happen then if we've got import mid laner? Like, is it Ssumday that goes, or is it Closer that goes? Like, what ends up happening? Well, we solved that problem with a green card, which means Ssumday ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's staying right here.
This is something that you have to assume, and I mean, like, we know with reasonable confidence that they've pretty much been working on the entire time Ssumday's been at 100 Thieves. And coming through at just the perfect timing to be able to pull this off. Dang. Like, just think about this. If my understanding is right, somebody check this, chat, check this, because I'm about to say something that could just be wrong, and you know how recklessly I do that. But I think it's right. I think the contract for Abbedagge was going to be up at the end of this year, right? So given that, it's like, all right, so they can try and re-sign him, or he can become a free agent and choose where he goes, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably a lot harder to grab him after that contract expires, because all teams are making plays for him, and you have to compete with all the noise, with all the like, I could find another team in LEC and not have to leave the country and like all this stuff, right? Like there's that piece of it. So you can look at the buyout thing and be like, well, that kind of sucks that we had to pay a huge buyout for him. But at the same time, it's like, you know what happens when they do buyouts almost every time is they extend the contract. So they renew, and they re-sign the terms, right? So we got that in this case. We got a contract extension for him. He's locked up through the end of 2023. Mm-hmm. If Ssumday doesn't get the green card in time, like, we may not be able to pull this off.
Yeah, that window closes. It's gone. And then I think you're right. There's probably another LEC team that is going to snatch him up, right? And Shulk would still be looking. Yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, it's kind of the perfect like confluence of all these different things coming together. And they had to, exactly as they did, or else it wouldn't work. So it is very crazy. Yeah.
So the Ssumday green card is a big deal for that reason. It's also actually 1 second. I am going to look up Ssumday's contract, because if I'm not mistaken, we have him for another 2 years. Okay, so this year and 2022. Okay, so we've got him for another year and a half. Because we renegotiated with him. So, we've got those two critical pieces like locked up for a while. That gives us a lot of time. So Ssumday's green card.
Yeah.
Timing on it is amazing. What a April Miss present. Late Easter present. I don't know what holidays are today. It's Reginald's birthday, right? Andy's birthday from TSM. So happy birthday to you. Enjoy your 4th place.
There it is.
Good.
If we make worlds, it means somebody else isn't. That's how it works, guys. Somebody else has to not be going. Isn't that exactly how it happened in 2018, by the way?
What happened in 2018?
We went to Worlds and TSM did.
Oh yeah. Man. Well, but let's not talk about the playoffs. NA playoffs, I mean. So the long-term view of 100 Thieves.
Well, can I talk about a little bit about Ssumday too?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So I saw a couple of things on Twitter. So the whole import conversation, right? Green cards take a long time. So this isn't us just like getting an idea, a wild hair.
Oh, that reminds me. Probably the best side effect of all of this is we will never, ever again have to explain that Ssumday will not be a resident until he gets a green card. I never have to respond to those tweets ever again. I never have to read it on Reddit ever again. The green card happened. He gets his residency. We don't have to explain it anymore.
But how and or when will Abbedagge get his green card, Cole?
As soon as he and Ssumday get married. Can't wait. Reapered will officiate.
What if the green card is just like it was like a contagious thing? You got to get married to somebody who's got one. You get one. You got to marry somebody else. All right. Here's one. the whole import conversation is one that you and I have not talked about at all.
Sure.
And I'm not, I've intentionally stayed away from it just because I
Same
feel like
here.
it's not really our place. But I do want to say this from a fan perspective. I think there's a lot of gnashing of teeth and pulling of hair over the idea that teams have all imports, right? So I've been seeing this not just for our team, but for others to say no NA players.
Right.
I think that's actually a really gross line of thought because it changes the idea of who is North American in a way that makes it dependent on where you were born or how you look. Look, this is not gonna be that kind of a podcast. But I was
gonna say, here we go.
I would like to flatly reject the idea that somebody can't come to America or Canada and be of this place, right? That's all I'm gonna say on it. And the green card is the government's way of saying we'd like you to stick around. So I think that's a fine way to do our import rules. To say if you've got a green card and you're a resident of this country, then great. Why won't you play League of Legends more? Like, go for it. Be a professional League of Legends player. So I just want to say it. I dislike this idea or notion that teams can only be representative of NA if they have players who grew up playing on NA servers. I think that's wrong.
Okay. So, and that kind of goes into the point that I was going to make. And look, I also have by choice not really talked about this because who cares what I think about the import rule, right? Like, what sway do I have? But this is what I'll say. Like, what is the determining factor here? Is it where the player was born? Because most of us don't actually know that about these players. Like, even the ones that are NA, like, okay, so they were born in North America. Like, what does that mean? But you know what actually is meaningful is being a product of the system in a region, right? Mm-hmm. So, like you said, NA means you playing on NA servers, right? EU means you're playing on EU servers. LCK means you're playing on Korean servers. Like, so it's almost like it's probably a better way to think about it. It's actually you are representing that system of League of Legends, not necessarily which country you're coming from, but which country's League of Legends infrastructure and system that you're a product of, right? Yeah. And in that case, if you're going to come over here and play on the servers and deal with the ping and you know what I mean? And come out of that play style, which, meme if you want on the NA play style.
Yeah.
You're fully within your rights to do that. We haven't won worlds, but it's like that seems to be what is meaningful,
right,
to me, in my uninformed opinion. So, and I get wanting to like root for players who are definitely a part of our system and come from where we are, because like that's just like a thing. That's just a normal thing. It's just like people make the analogy of the Olympics all the time. It's fun to like cheer for the people whose country you come from. Okay. But I'm just trying to think about it in terms of which League of Legends system and development you are subject to, and what does that produce?
Right. And if you've grinded NA solo queue as the amount of time it takes to obtain a green card, you've earned it. You've played more games.
You've been through all of that punishment.
Yes. So I think that's a really good point. And I'd even say like, I think that there are people in Australia who play on Korea servers. Like, if you can make it and get scouted in Korea as an Australian, why would you say that that's not somebody who should be able to be a resident in Korea, right? Like, I think to your point exactly, that is a lot. So we've gone off topic now, but I did want to say that. Like, I feel like like this is 100 Thieves is a North American LCS team with the players who represent our region. And I think that's great. And I love it. And I think FBI is outstanding, right? Like, I wouldn't trade him for the world. So more of that. And I'm just glad that Ssumday has been rewarded for his diligence in going, like, it's a big life thing too for him. Like, that's a super exciting thing. So hats off to Ssumday. I'm very happy for him. It worked out well for us too.
Yep. Well, thank you for that. By the way, if anyone wants to further discuss, I'll say our takes with us, like, let us know in the Discord or on Twitter or whatever, because like I said, I don't feel like I fully concretely understand what the distinction is. I'm just kind of trying to express my feelings. So I'd love to hash it out with other people. That said, so long-term view of 100 Thieves. So what I wanted to do for this is talk about beyond summer 2021, what position are we in now? And I'm going to start that out by talking about the possible scenarios of us finishing the year, right? Now, most teams are not going to be making material changes going into the summer. That just is something that doesn't really happen as much. Like summer tends to look like what you finish spring with more often than it doesn't. I'm not saying you can't ever change, but whatever. That means that, that there's always the legendary team synergy thing, right? That's on the table with players who have played together for a while and practiced together for a while. That becomes a slight disadvantage for us, right? We've got a new coach in, that becomes a slight disadvantage for us when it comes to just like the concept, not who these people are, right? So I say that to say we're not immediately going to be as good as we'll ever be, like with this squad, right?
Right.
This is going to be like a situation where we come together, we figure it out. We don't know exactly what the fit is for Abbedagge. I mean, they've surely got a plan. They've surely scouted this out. But I am not expecting us to be at our absolute best when we play summer. That being said, I truly believe that we've got like a world's caliber team, so that summer is a time where we can hopefully catch up, build that synergy for whatever it's worth. And I lost Jordan again. Man, this is driving me crazy. I can't believe this is happening all the time. And then just have the quality of players, which we clearly have, just a high quality set of players. I think we can get to Worlds this year. So to me, it's feeling like that is the expectation at this moment. Now, fan expectations are so fickle, right? Like it's something that is annoying to deal with because the team's level of success varies. Sometimes we underperform, sometimes we overperform. Let's not forget how excited we were for Bang to join the team. And that didn't work out like at all for us, right? So there's always the possibility that stuff like that can happen. Here's my, I guess where I'm different from a lot of people, and maybe you can tell me, I don't know how you feel about this. I expect that we will make Worlds in summer. However, if for whatever reason we don't, I am not worried at all. Unless we finish like 9th or 10th place, I'm all like, no, cool. These are the guys. You know what I mean? This is the setup. These are the guys. Like I feel really confident about this group of players. So again, my expectation is that we'll make Worlds. If we don't, it'll kind of be sucky and disappointing. But unless we totally bomb out, we have to remember what we have right now. I'm focusing. I started this out by saying long-term picture of 100 Thieves. I'm focusing on this central piece, the Midlaner, the quarterback that we've always wanted. We've got a extremely high caliber player in that position, and we've got him through the end of 2023. That is what's more important. So if for whatever reason stuff doesn't go well immediately, which I don't think will be the case, I think we'll be very good. I'm good, man. So mentally, as a fan, this is a pretty unbeatable place to be.
No, yeah, agreed. I think I think I generally agree with you. Disappointment for sure if we don't make Worlds.
It will be a disappointment.
Bar, right?
I'm look, they are, the messaging on this is we're gonna be real good, we're gonna make Worlds. This is not a let's see what happens when we make this move play. This is we're gonna go win. That's what this play is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
okay. We got 4th. We still have 3 world spots. All we would have to do is improve 1 position to make it to Worlds. So it's not even like we're saying we're going here's the miracle run, guys. It's just let's win 1 more series is basically what we're saying in summer playoffs. Doesn't feel like a huge stretch.
No.
And I'll go so far as to say it's not a huge stretch. So, I mean, it kind of sounds crazy when you say, when when I hear it, right? Like disappointment if you don't make Worlds. I'm like, whoa. But I think it's really not that big of a stretch. So if we don't make Worlds, yeah, disappointment. If we actually finish worse, that's where it's like, ooh, that's rough. We have some serious self-reflecting to do.
Yeah.
I still don't think, and I think we've always been like teetering on the edge of full roster explosion, right? Ever since 2018, and we've pretty much exploded the roster frequently for the last ever. Like it's been a normal
I'm just
thing.
Envisioning the Minecraft Dynamite.
Yeah, like we do it once a year approximately. And I think that for the first time, we're not there. We have finally arrived, Cole, at the place where we can actually make very intentional and strategic upgrades to specific positions that we need. And I think that for the first time, we have options to do that, because that's the thing that's so hard about mid lane. You have to get so lucky to have a meaningful mid lane upgrade. It is an incredibly in-demand position globally. Everybody is competing for the top world caliber mid lane talent. It just isn't the same for top laners, right? There are more passably good top laners that you can make it to Worlds with than is true for mid laners. I think that's just the pool is just not as deep. And I think the other thing is, it's not having a world caliber top laner is a lot less likely to keep you from getting to Worlds, right? It goes both ways.
Yeah, that part of the argument I would definitely agree with. Yeah,
it's a lot less likely to get you to Worlds because you have one, and it's a lot less likely to keep you out of Worlds because you don't. So I think with that, we have our mid lane bet that we can work with over the next couple of years, even if it doesn't start off with a bang. No pun intended. And so I think that's like that's the difference now, is we can actually play more long term because we're not reshuffling the entire deck to say, well, maybe this iteration is the one that will finally get us back to Worlds. And that feels different, man. Like that feels like a really important difference in where we are today versus where we have been for the last 2 years.
Yeah. So getting into that a bit deeper, there are some real areas of improvement that this roster would need to show, right? For instance, I mean, we've been critical about Ssumday's performance during this split, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a rough split, probably his worst 100 Thieves split, I would say.
Yeah.
So we need him to bounce back, right, to be a part of this, and I have confidence that he will. He's kind boy after all. I like, so I don't want to gloss over that as if that didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Ssumday was not like Alfari clearly was the best top laner in the league.
No question.
This split. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ssumday will need to challenge himself to get back into contention for that, which he's capable of. So freaking awesome, right? Like at least we can say he's capable of that and he can compete for that. So needs to happen, yes, but in my opinion, very possible. The other like kind of weakness which persists would be that Closer had a little bit of a roller coaster performance as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes playing great, sometimes playing not so great. He and Ssumday maybe weren't on the same page as much as we would have liked them to be. I don't know. It's hard to examine what went down there. No one's ever going to know but the staff and those players, right? I think it's fair to say that they didn't play on the same page as much as you would like. Part of me wonders if Ssumday is just worried about like not having the mid lane anchored down so tightly, so maybe not being as confident to go for some of those plays.
Yeah.
So there's that. Who knows? I don't know that, but I do know that Closer will need to show more consistency to put us into the highest possible operating level for the team. And I see Closer like just this is my way too early evaluation of who we are. It's like Closer looks like the not a weak link, but the weakest link, right? In that bot lane, especially in lane, bot lane is incredible, right?
Yep.
I'm fine if people want to say Sven is a better ADC than FBI, even if I disagree with it. Like, I think FBI is like a tiny, just shade better. People will point to like Core JJ and Sword Art, like what they're able to do for their teams, which is true, especially out of the lane phase. You know, they tend to really turn games and team fights, stuff like that. But I feel very confident in our bot lane, especially in lane, as just like very solid, very reliable, very high performing beasts, right? Yeah. And FBI is a sick team fighter too. And he's a very smart guy. You know what I mean? So I feel good about that. Obviously, I feel good about Abbedagge. I feel like if Ssumday gets back to what we know him to be most consistently and reliably, then his Closer, right, is not a weak link, but just like the first kind of place that we would look. And do you know what? We've got our best academy prospect behind that player.
Yeah.
Somebody who looks like they have the potential to develop into a star jungler in NA, in Kenvi.
Right. Right.
So how good does it feel to know that like what could end up being like the problem for us is kind of like we're in the best position to address it. You know what I mean? And again, let me just reiterate this. I am not saying like, oh yeah, Closer's got to go or anything like that. I think he'll be fine. He just needs to find that consistency and agree with Ssumday on some things. It just gives me a lot of confidence that if that doesn't go wrong, we have such like a great option down the line to address that problem, and a better option than we would have in like pretty much any other circumstance.
Yeah, and I think to pick up on that point, to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier about, you know, being able to be very intentional about making these. I think you can do that because it's less like, in my opinion, it's less likely that either Ssumday or Closer become basically a point of failure. I think what we might find is that if they were to perform, look, this is all big if, by the way. Like I'm with you. I want to put the disclaimer out there that I'm not saying that this is going to happen or that this is what the situation is, so we should do this. But I'm just hypothesizing. If we were to find that they were like their slump continued into the next split, right, in summer, where the stakes are very high. Yeah. I think the benefit is it's less likely that they would cause us to completely fail as a team. And we have had players in the past in different lanes and positions that I think that has been the case, right? We can't execute the strategy we need to. We are incredibly limited in the different champions available to us. We can't play the meta. I'm not worried about that with any of these players on the roster right now. And so I think even if what we find is that they're not working, what that means is different with these players. It probably means that we're less consistently challenging the top three teams, but still doing well against the others. And if that's where you're at, then one, you're less worried that you're going to lose, you know, random games throughout the split like we did. And I think you can then just start to think about the future. Okay, if this doesn't improve, what then? And maybe then what you have is like, we've never had an academy talent where we can start to think ahead to say, well, maybe spring 2022 is where Kenvi starts to get some reps, right? Like, I don't think we have to throw people in as an emergency now to try to fix something that is emergently not working. That could all change, of course, if we're on the brink of missing worlds and we feel like Kenvi is really hot. Like, that could happen too. But it feels different in that I think we've kind of earned the right to look ahead a little bit more. We've always had this pressing need right now. And at least at this point, it doesn't seem that we have that. Like, I'm not anticipating that in any position for the first in a long time, which is great.
Now, something Papa Smithy said in our Discord again was that because this is just leading to your point about development and like looking to the future and planning ahead and making those choices because you're not so worried about the main roster. He said it's possible to win now and also develop in League of Legends. Right. He pointed out C9 has done it for years and said, we have a contending LCS roster and 2 best young NA talents in Academy. Why don't we just win everything instead of focusing on just one if we can do both? Yeah. And that's like that. I think that is an amazing like thing to hear about your own team, right? It's like, look, we've got excellent talent in the Academy. We've got excellent talent in the LCS. Let's develop and let's win instead of choosing between the two.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do both. Why not both? I think for too long, the challenge we faced in the mid lane was a spur to sacrifice one for the other. Right. Do we want to develop players? And even before that, looking back to 2019, that was the exact same thing. And we've constantly had to put kind of development interests aside to try to win games in the LCS. And the two, while not mutually exclusive, I think too often are not, they're not advancing each other. And I think that's where we're at now. It makes me very excited again for 100X, right? Like you could find somebody and say in 2024, we think that they're going to be one of the best people in the league and legitimately put a plan in place that would get them there. Right. So, and you're not going to, it's not like you're no longer looking for the guy who like, maybe he could start in 2021 or 2022, so that's great. And I think it is a testament to the reason you put the infrastructure in place as soon as you can, so that once some things work out, green cards come through and all that, you're not now scrambling to build the pipeline.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a bridge from what we're talking about into the last thing that I wanted to hit on, which was, as I mentioned before, 100 Thieves doesn't care about esports, right? I think the other reality of what's happened now is that we've like ramped up from what was not a huge monetary commitment to previous rosters into something now where you can assume that we're paying a good amount of money for this roster and we're among the top spenders in the league. I don't think we're at the top. Obviously, I think C9 has one player that probably could claim the top if you just counted him. But I mean, the I don't know who the guy was and that was in the Schalke video talking about the move. I don't know if that, if that's like the GM of the league program or whatever, but he pointed out that the offer 100 Thieves made for the buyout was very good. Right. Mm-hmm. And he said like one of the goals of Schalke just as an entire organization, not just the League of Legends program, is to create and develop these beastly players that then go for big buyouts. Right. It's kind of like what C9 does. And so he mentioned this as an example of them achieving their goal, with that. So you can assume we paid a pretty penny to free Abbedagge and take him over here. And he's probably getting a really good salary as well, right? So I think like 100 Thieves is clearly proven in all of their esports that they're willing to spend to win. And in this case, it's like waiting for the right moment to spend. Waiting for the window to be right with signing the right mid laner and not just the available mid laner. And committing to that. And so that's, as a fan, it's like, it's good to hear that, right? Because we always have our concerns about profitability and teams are spending so much and buyouts are getting so expensive, which is material and real and whatever. But when it comes to like, hey, let's win, it's sure nice as a fan to know that the monetary commitment is being there in esports across the spectrum. So, again, I'll just say it again. I don't ever want to hear people say 100 Thieves doesn't care about winning esports.
Yeah,
we absolutely did.
We always have.
Yeah,
we always have. Our efforts, I suspect, and we know this has been confirmed, our efforts have not always been apparent, right? This is not the first time we've tried to secure the right mid laner for the moment. This is the first time we've successfully done so. And I think all too often what people assume is that we forgot to set an alarm clock on free agency day, and we're left talking to Jordan and Cole to see if they'd be willing to give it a shot. Could one of you guys play mid? So, in the absence of, and we've seen this everywhere in the scene, in the absence of very clear messaging, spelling it out. Here's who we called on Wednesday. He said no. We called this guy on Thursday. He didn't pick up. So we tried his friend. In the absence of that kind of messaging, which just isn't going to happen ever, people assume that you're not trying. And it's not like you can't work to that. There's no approach that will, please those critics. But this is the first time that our efforts have become clear because it worked. And you talked about Schalke being a selling club, as they're called in football, world football. There's always going to be your Madrids, your Barcelonas, your Manchesters, right? The clubs who have they live in a different reality. And the same is true to a certain degree. Like Cloud9 is the team, probably, TL and TSM too, if we're being honest, who could afford perks. No one else can. And they can't, in part because they have a P&L to manage, right? Like you don't just get to spend infinite amounts of money to put together the roster that you so desire. If you're running a business, I don't know. I've not seen the balance books of any of these teams, but for a lot of teams, they don't have a check to write that would match that offer for perks. That's just the reality of it. So here's the thing that I want. This is my beef with this conversation. This is another one we haven't gone too far into, but too often I see people and I see them. It's sometimes at the top of the house, right? Who say, "Come on, it's time to spend more money. It's time to, if you're serious about this, write bigger checks."
Oh no, we lost Jordan right when he is getting into the crux of it. Let's bring him back for this. So, why don't you write big checks? Was the last thing we heard.
Write bigger checks. And the thing that tipped me over the edge was I started to hear this split. Like this is Golden Guardians. This is a Golden State Warriors. This is Schalke. This is, these. If you think they don't have money, who are you kidding? But I think that the piece of that argument critically overlooks is the fact that I think if anything, those organizations, yeah, they have money, but they also they're probably that much more interested in making money, not just spending it. So you have to convince somebody that not taking a large buyout for a great player is the best business decision if you're Schalke. And that probably is not going to happen. And if you're Golden Guardians, you have to convince somebody that it's worth potentially jeopardizing their NBA program to sign perks. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen because you're always going to make more money on the NBA. So I just think that people look at it again as like in the same way that we haven't given people the transcript of our conversations with Faker to say, here's what we tried to do, guys. Sorry, it didn't work out. People look at it and say, well, you didn't sign any world-class players this offseason, Immortals. So do you really care? It's like, yeah, they care, but they can't, and being part of an organization that has a lot of money doesn't mean that they're willing to just throw it away, to be honest with you, because they've decided it doesn't make sense. So I'm glad this kind of puts that to bed too, because now what we can say is we made what we thought was a smart business decision. We invested in a player that we thought would help us to win. And I think the proof is going to be in the pudding. And people can no longer say, in the same way, Cole, that you've said, don't ask me about the green card or don't say that we don't care about esports, that we're not willing to spend when we think it makes sense. And the reason we can is because we run a smart organization. With when John Robinson was on here talking about the 3 pillars of 100 Thieves, there's a reason that there are 3 pillars. Is because if one of the pillars gets a crack in it, you don't have to sell your organization, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes your content game is hot. Sometimes your apparel game is hot. Sometimes your esports is hot. But if you have 3 that are all usually doing at least pretty well, there's a chance that then you get to make the investment when the time comes. I rest my case.
Nice. One more thing on the money. I'm going to bring up this tweet thread. It was fun to watch former 100 Thieves jungler Amazing get into it with an EG employee. Let's bring this up here. Yeah, so can you guys see this? Yeah, you can see this. So Empire with EG said, I hope this is not true. When he's talking about Schalke's rumored 1 million euros for Abbedagge's transfer fee from us. He said, I hope this is not true. If so, NA League ecosystem is disgusting. Says, the org that acquired Svenskeren from C9 and Zazel. Like I'm sure that was a cheap buyout there. But Amazing jumped in and said, I don't think paying that amount is too unreasonable, especially if they did not have to renegotiate his salary. Demand drives the price, and 100T needed a capable and accessible mid laner. To which a rando got in the fray. I think this is a rando, right? Serenity, yeah, he's 45 follower rando. Imagine NA using NA talent instead of paying 1 million for people before even trying them out to see if they're a good fit for the team. Imagine NA holding tryouts. Man, our region is poopy. And Amazing says, imagine having enough resources to get a testifiable better player that can immediately help your team win. Imagine that. You assume they're acting without in the scene knowledge. They aren't. Which, like, that in and of itself is like the thing that we always try and say to the fans. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
Holy crap. And then, dude, how can you even, not going to read that word, that stuff. NA is notorious for not holding tryouts. It could easily be another huge failure due to the simple fact that stylistically, they may not make sense. NA continues to refuse to hold tryouts. So apparently we need to pit Abbedagge and Demonte in tryouts against each other. Yeah. I think this guy also later suggested like Palafox in that mix too.
Yeah, why not?
An Amazing said, you're conflating a popular narrative with the offseason action of a team in need of a win now mid laner. Your point holds no value whatsoever. Yeah. And then why does a 100T, a 4th to 6th place team need immediate results? He says, it's almost like that's their culture to try to win. It's almost as if you've just invalidated your very own prior point of NA having no org culture. From the top ropes, Amazing came and just, I mean, this guy should have just deleted his account, I think.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, so I love seeing that, from a former 100T player, like we didn't keep Amazing, right? But he still is defending the first of all the just normal logic of the situation, but also the org itself, and I just loved reading that thread today. But it's just especially just interesting coming from Empire. I mean, I wish someone would ask him how much they paid for all the players they acquired if he's going to criticize buyouts getting really hard.
Yeah, that's like, are you sure that that's what you want to tweet right now? It was reported. Wasn't there a value reported? And I don't know that I'm pretty sure nothing was ever confirmed.
I didn't think so for that transaction. I know the Dignitas deal, for Abbedagge, that's what he was posting is around €1 million was the reported. Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like everything I've heard is that if you want anybody from C9 Academy, you're paying $1 million. Feels like a better bet to me. Am I wrong? Is that, I mean,
I'm with you.
And if you're evil geniuses, you already visited that shop and you left with 2 items. So I'm not sure. Maybe he joined Evil Geniuses after that transaction and is quite surprised and embarrassed now to recognize that they did that exact same thing. I mean, if anything, I think that is the worst one. Like like LEC to LCS transfer fees, sure. C9 holding hostage great players with $1 million buyouts, no problem. We like it. More of that, please. Like I don't see at all where that's coming from.
Yeah, it was weird. I got one more thing to hit, and then guess what, guys? We're gonna do a giveaway, a live giveaway.
Ooh.
So
for those who've stuck around,
for those who've committed to 100 Talk for the night, we appreciate you. I wanted to give a shout out to Raster. So we didn't do listener takes this week. We're probably going to do a listener call-in show at some point during the off season, probably soon. So yes, I'll do it. But so for this one, we didn't take listener takes, but Raster said something in our Discord that I felt, I just love stuff like this. I like, this is my favorite kind of take or favorite kind of information you can send me. It's like the guy who was tracking the caster records for 100T. You know, AJ Beck was doing that for us. So this is Raster's point about this situation. He says, "Listen, we as fans shall make a memorial for contracts. He showed the LCS how to beat C9, forcing C9 to miss Worlds. Therefore, C9 released Reapered so that he can come to 100T and deliver NA their first Summoners Cup."
It's so good, dude.
It's perfection.
It's like a Rube Goldberg, you know, like the Rube Goldberg take.
Oh, it was amazing. I really loved it. All right, everybody who's still hanging out in chat, let's do a quick giveaway before we say goodbye and good night. Let me get the giveaway object. You guys know I've been podcasting in front of my Trust the Papa banner for quite some time. Well, you probably already saw it's a green screen, right? You see my hand getting the green glow. But I've got the genuine article here.
Oh,
and it's time to give it to one of you guys. So in chat, if you'd like to be entered to get one of these things, and please, this is domestic shipping. So if you're in the United States, I apologize to the international people. We love you. Go ahead and put the keyword "Trust the Papa," one phrase in the chat. Trust the Papa, like that. All right, and we'll draw random here in a minute. Let me get Jordan back in here for this. So you see, it's a green screen now, but I've forever memorialized the banner here, and I will send this one to you. If you guys even want, I don't know if you would want this or not. Probably not. I'll even sign this. I'll personalize it in some way for you if you really want it.
Wow.
I'll grab a Sharpie and go to town. But we'll draw a random one of you guys here in just a minute.
Look, this is a one of two. One of two. There are two of these in the world. The other one, Cole, is proudly displayed in our very own Hoodie God's room. He won the previous one, so you could be in very fine company with this. If you
won the contest of meeting you in person randomly.
Exactly, that was it.
All right, so in a minute here we'll draw for that. Let's make some concluding statements here. I think this, like I said, this is the best single day in 100T League of Legends history that I can remember. And I've been here for the whole thing. So I am so happy. The one thing I always wanted, and we get it. I'm like over the moon. I have the urge to say, I don't even care what else happens, you know, because like, it's been so long, man. It's been so long. So yeah. And Miller Time's pointing out, we didn't even win anything yet. Yes, I know, but dude, we got the mid laner. Oh, it's so
won
good.
A mid laner. We won something.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I cannot wait for the split to start, man. We'll do the call-in show at some point, maybe next week. We'll let you know. So keep your eyes on our Twitter, which here's the Twitter.
Wait, let me give my final closing thought.
Yeah.
Before you actually. Okay. I didn't know if now is the right time. Let me just say, FBI has been such a great addition to this team. And I think obviously he's very good at the game. He's the first person we've added since Ssumday. I always say this. I'm like, somebody's going to say in chat, well, what about? But I feel like he's the first person we've added since Ssumday who feels like a real special talent. right? And the kind of player who just is fun to watch. And look, this has not been the winningest program. We've had highs, we've had lows, we've had very lows. But at its best, 100 Thieves League of Legends has been about the players who pop off. And if you are in the LCS battle arena or whatever it's called, you cannot help but jump out of your seat, as Cole and I have done twice. We've been to see the team live and we've jumped out of our seats both times. Ssumday plays. Actually, Huhi, Midlaner.
I know Huhi play, yeah.
Yeah, geez, were we there live for that? Anyway.
Yeah, we were.
Abbedagge is that kind of player in the mid lane. He's going, no matter what happens, he is going to provide us with moments of pure joy as fans that are going to be so fun to watch. And I think if nothing else, that is great. And I think there's an incredibly high percentage chance that we also win more as a result, which is also great. That's the bonus. That's the cherry on top. But if you're a 100 Thieves fan for LCS, it's not because we're the most winning program. If you're sticking around from day one and you're watching right now, some of you might probably, newer fans, but for those of us who've been watching from the start, we've learned to love the team and the program because of the players, the talent, the moments of excitement. We've had good runs. So I'm just personally excited for that. Like, I think it's going to be super fun to watch him. I can't wait. And, I think we're going to win more, which is also good. So that's how I feel, Cole. That's how I'm feeling today. It's a good day.
Can't wait for Worlds this year. All right, let's go ahead and roll it. So I'm gonna have this is the last call for Trust the Papa, one word to enter. I'm going to let Nightbot decide your fates here. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wild shot. Wild shot. TV wins the Trust the Papa banner. Wild shot. Get in touch with me, man. You know where to find me. Congratulations. Let me know if you want that thing personalized. Nice. And I just want to point out something. Let's see if you guys could see this. 1 second. You see this? A wild shot following since October 14th, 2018. All right.
That is good.
That's a deserving guy, man. That's a deserving. We got founders badges in the chat, by the way. This is just the best. So, everybody.
Hey, Cole, do we want to talk about other stuff that is to come? Would you like other giveaways?
Would you guys like other giveaways?
Not right now.
Not right now, no. But we have some other things to give away. And one of them may or may not be one of these.
Ooh.
One of them may or may not be some more apparel. And we may or may not be cooking up some 100 Talk merch as well. So, guys, big things coming.
Yeah. Celebrate. We're going to celebrate. It's going to be fun.
We got to get ready for Worlds, man. We got to get ready for I got my Worlds jersey on from 2018 because we got to get ready for Worlds. Let's go. All right, everybody. We love you so much. We love you so much. Yeah, we're going to raid in just a second. But yeah, man, what a good day. Thank you for being here with us and being able to celebrate this win with us. One more sip of the rip. Jordan's ineligible since he choked on his whole can earlier today. Guys, we love you and we miss you already.
Take care.
All right, who's the raid? Who's the raid? Everybody, who are we raiding?
Upsurge is live. It's Illini Esports.
Oh, that's not even a question then. Upsurge it is.
Yo.
With Illinois playing of
okay,
all
everybody
teams.
Root on Illinois. That's the mission.
That is your command from us, from your dads. Let's join.
Cheer those boys on.
All right, everybody. We will see you in the Upsurge channel. Can't wait.